I'm delighted to introduce our next speaker, Baroness Verma, Parliamentary Undersecretary of State, the Department for International Development, the United Kingdom. Baroness Verma was appointed Parliamentary Undersecretary of State at DFID on 13 May 2015. She is a conservative member of the House of Lords. In 2006, she was raised to the peerage as Baroness Verma of Lister in the county of Leicestershire. Prior to becoming the Parliamentary Undersecretary of State for DFID, Baroness Verma was the Parliamentary Undersecretary of State for the Department of Energy and Climate Change. Baroness Verma.
I know I'm short, I hope you can see me. Good afternoon to you all, and I'm delighted to be here with you all today at this very crucial and important event. I'd like to, first of all, thank our hosts, and the American ambassador laid it out so well, so I won't repeat what he said, but I think it's important that all conference participants take away the key messages that have been laid out today. The UK has put girls and women at the front and centre of our international development work. We believe it's a matter of basic human rights. Girls and women have the right to have control over their bodies, to have a voice in their community and country. To live a life free of violence and of fear from violence, to choose who to marry and when to marry, their right to be in education, to determine whether and when to have children and how many to have, and their right to work, earn money, and build the future they want. But gender equality is also critical to wider development goals. No country can truly develop if it leaves half of its population behind. We know that when girls stay in school for just one extra year of primary school, they can boost their eventual wages up to 20%. And when women get extra earnings, we know that they reinvest back into their families and back into their communities. McKinsey estimates that if women in every country played an identical role in markets to men, as much as $28 trillion would be added to the global economy by 2025. The same research finds that if every nation only matched the progress of its fastest improving neighbor, it would add $12 trillion to the global economy. So investing in girls and women is the right thing to do. It's also one of the very best investments we can make. Sexual and reproductive health and rights are absolutely fundamental to this. When women have multiple and unintended pregnancies and births, when they face a high risk of dying in childbirth, and when they are unable to decide for themselves whether and when and how many children they have, they are also unable to participate fully in education and employment. We know rights-based family planning enables a girl to avoid a life trajectory of early, frequent, and risky pregnancies, and instead complete her education and take up economic opportunities. These are essential elements of the demographic transition, the shift from high fertility and mortality to far fewer births and deaths, the shift that ensures investments in gender equality, in education, and in training and jobs can be converted in the demographic dividend of higher economic growth and prosperity for all. We've seen these policies and process in action in countries across East Asia, particularly. We're ready to support countries in Africa who choose this path. A lot of progress has been made, but we're not on track yet. to reach the FP 2020 goal we all committed to in 2012. We're failing to reach adolescent girls and young women who want to use family planning. We're failing to reach the poorest. We're failing to meet the reproductive health needs of women and girls in conflict. We're failing to change social norms about family planning so that women and girls' rights and their ability to control their own fertility become an ordinary part of life for communities everywhere. These are changes that will be truly transformational. We have come together here in Bali because we're all committed to change. There is much more we all need to do to deliver on the commitments of 2012. If we act now, we can still reach the goal and be on course for universal access by 2030. That means truly prioritizing family planning. It means budgeting for it, finding the funds for the contraceptives, and taking head-on discrimination that prevents young people, especially unmarried women and girls, from getting the services they need. It means changing attitudes and social norms so that it is the uncut girl who finishes her education before marriage being valued. It means demonstrating our support publicly, encouraging others to do the same, and making sure that access to safe and affordable contraception becomes a normal part of life for everyone. The UK will play its part. My government is fully committed to the goal of family planning for all who want it. We will deliver on the ambitious commitment made by our Prime Minister. By 2020, this will result in 24 million additional women and girls using modern voluntary contraception. The numbers are important. This is an ambitious agenda, but we also need to ensure that no one is left behind. And here we explicitly mean adolescents and women and girls living through humanitarian crises. And that is why my department, DFID, is challenging itself to find innovative ways to meet the family planning needs of young people, including adolescents, and why in humanitarian crises, DFID's call for proposals will now require the sexual and reproductive health and rights of women and girls to be considered. The UK commitment to the renewed Every Woman, Every Child strategy, launched at the United Nations in September, put these issues at the heart of our vision for the sector for 2030. We remain committed to supporting progress across the continuum of care, prioritizing maternal and newborn health, and addressing HIV, particularly for key populations. The UK is very clear. Access to voluntary modern contraception is a crucial part of wider sexual and reproductive health and rights. As agreed by the world in Cairo in 1994 and its subsequent reviews. I'm therefore proud that the UK government is also a strong voice on the more difficult issues. Access to safe abortion, for example, reduces recourse to unsafe abortion and saves maternal lives. We need the courage to do what the evidence tells us women and girls still need. Increasing access to affordable, quality female and male condoms to young people is also critical in order to provide dual protection against unwanted pregnancy as well as HIV and other sexually transmitted diseases. I'm proud that my country, the UK, has led the way in supporting the Africa-led movement to end FGM. Ending FGM and ending child marriage are fundamental to girls and women being able to control what happens to their bodies and ultimately to their lives. The Girls' Summit in 2014 in London was a watershed moment which broke the silence on these sensitive and taboo issues. No girl should live with fear of being cut, the fear of being married too young, the fear of carrying a child too young, the fear of giving birth when her body is not ready, the fear of the potential risks of this, of course, of a hemorrhaging, of being left with a leaky bladder, thanks to fistula and the risk of dying. We have a big job ahead of us, but if we step up our collective efforts, we can succeed. There are, as the ambassador said, 225 million women and girls who want to use modern contraception and can't get it. This is a staggering number. Yet we all know what needs to be done. We need clarity of purpose. Everyone needs to focus and get on with it. This is fundamental. We must not fail these millions and millions of women and girls. We cannot fail them. A block on the sexual and reproductive health and rights of women and girls is a block on economic empowerment across the board. But do we need to act now? We have a narrow window to get back on track with the FP 2020 goals. We also have the tremendous opportunity with the new SDGs, whose implementation will be secured or lost in the next few years. The family planning community needs to be at the heart of those discussions. This means a fresh commitment from us all, and it means taking it to other sectors, to talking about comprehensive sexual and reproductive health and rights for every girl, adolescent woman, everywhere, is at the center of everything we do. So I will end also, as the American ambassador has just done, by reminding ourselves what was agreed universally at the United Nations in September last year. It was a promise not to leave anyone behind. And I think we have an absolute opportunity today at this conference to demonstrate that we remain committed and will show that we will deliver. Thank you very much.